an entrance. We can see an entrance.
For 2,000 years, her name has lived on as an echo in time. Cleopatra, the last queen of Egypt, whose beauty and power changed the pages of history.
Cleopatra is one of the most powerful women ever to come out of the ancient Mediterranean world.
But the greatest secret buried with her death may now be revealed. Beneath the sands of Alexandria, scientists have discovered a site that doesn't look like an ordinary tomb. Strange symbols on the walls, traces of the goddess Isis etched into the stones, and a sealed chamber in the center, emitting a faint warm breeze and strange sounds. Cameras began shutting down automatically. Instruments malfunctioned. Some researchers even said they heard a woman whispering from within, as if Cleopatra herself were speaking. History says she took her own life after Antony's death. But could it be that she immortalized herself in a rebirth ritual? Cleopatra called herself the new Isis, and now her tomb has been found beneath the temple of that very goddess. Coincidence or a divine plan? Those who went inside haven't said anything to this day. They simply said, "Don't disturb whoever is there." So is Cleopatra's spirit still there? Or is that tomb a door to another world? If you think Cleopatra's secret is about to be revealed, watch the video until the end. Comment on your theory, like, share, and don't forget to subscribe, because next time we'll show you footage that not everyone has the courage to watch. Cleopatra's story isn't just about a queen, but about a woman who made an entire empire dance to her tune. As Rome's power was sweeping the globe, Egypt's last remaining shining star was Cleopatra. Her wisdom, eloquence, and beauty captivated not only the people, but even the greatest kings. But as magnificent as her life was, its end was equally mysterious. Antony, who loved her immensely, fell on his sword after losing a battle, and Cleopatra is said to have taken her own life from the sting of a poisonous snake, an asp. But does the story end there? History books say that Cleopatra and Antony were buried together, in a tomb worthy of their royal dignity. Yet centuries later, no one has seen that tomb. No one knows where it is, or if it even exists. Some historians say that Octavian, Rome's first emperor, hid their bodies to erase their stories. Others believe that Cleopatra considered herself a goddess and sent her soul to another world. Perhaps this is why her true resting place has never been found. Over time, Cleopatra became more than a person, but a legend. Her images were engraved in temples, her name echoed in songs and poems. But the real question remained. What really happened on her last night? Did she truly die, or did she make herself immortal? It is said that a light emanated from her room, and then everything went quiet. People believe that she did not die, but became part of some divine power. Today, as archaeologists search for Cleopatra's tomb, they have the same fear. If she had truly made herself a goddess, would it be right to awaken her? Could her spirit still be there somewhere? Thousands of years later, this mystery remains as alive as Cleopatra herself. And perhaps because of this, her story continues to haunt and fascinate the world, as if she were still guarding her secret. In the 21st century, when answers to almost every mystery in the world were being found, Cleopatra's tomb remained a mystery that remained unsolved. The Egyptian government and archaeologists from around the world decided it was time to end this mystery once and for all. An ancient site near Alexandria, Taposiris Magna, was once home to a temple dedicated to the goddess Isis. Cleopatra's name appears frequently associated with Isis in ancient texts, so scientists began excavating there. They hoped this might be the place where Cleopatra immortalized herself as a goddess. As soon as the excavation began, researchers began uncovering some very strange objects. First, they discovered ancient stone walls engraved with symbols of Isis and Osiris. Then, they discovered broken reliefs and fragments of temple statues, hinting at the possibility that this site had once been sacred. Gradually, the excavation team discovered a strange structure underground, resembling a tunnel. As they progressed, the tunnel appeared to go deeper, directly toward the sea. This led the archaeologists to suspect that Cleopatra's tomb might be hidden in a sealed chamber beneath the sea. Then came the moment that stunned the entire team. When they examined the site with advanced magnetic scans and ground-penetrating radar, they discovered a large circular chamber deep within. The readings clearly indicated the presence of a hollow space, a closed structure, perhaps a tomb. The scientists were now confident that they were close to solving a major historical mystery. New discoveries were emerging every day, but at the same time, some phenomena were occurring that had no logical explanation. Sometimes the excavation machine would shut down on its own at night, and sometimes the camera feeds would distort spontaneously. Some workers claimed to have heard whispering sounds from within, but the research team wasn't about to stop. They believed this was where Cleopatra had breathed her last. And if this were true, it meant that the world's greatest archaeological secret was about to be revealed. A secret that would shatter not only the boundaries of history, but perhaps even the boundaries of science. Today's modern Alexandria is known for its glittering streets, tall buildings, and bustling seaside city. But few people realize that beneath its foundations lies another Alexandria, thousands of years older, the ancient city founded by Alexander the Great himself. Over time, earthquakes, floods, and sea movements buried that old city underground. Now, modern Alexandria stands above it, where layers of history lie hidden beneath every street and every wall. When archaeologists began searching for Cleopatra's tomb, they realized the real answer lay beneath the modern city. They digitally recreated Alexandria's ancient layout using 3D mapping and satellite imagery. Everyone was astonished when the 3D visuals revealed traces of ancient temples, royal quarters, and tunnels. These virtual maps suggested that Cleopatra's palace and possibly her tomb might not be on the seashore, but buried deep underwater. Researchers used sonar technology and ground-penetrating radar, GPR. These advanced machines revealed the shapes of hollow structures, rooms, and walls hidden deep beneath the ground. When they scanned an area with sonar waves, they found strange echo patterns, as if a large stone chamber was hidden there. Many readings showed clear, rectangular outlines, resembling chambers or tunnels. These were likely parts of royal constructions dating back to Cleopatra's time. But excavation wasn't easy. Every time researchers tried to dig into a new area, modern buildings and underground pipelines would obstruct them. Excavations had to be halted several times because the city's foundation began to shake. Yet the scientists didn't give up. They combined digital scans, magnetic data, and satellite maps to create the map beneath Alexandria, a blueprint that revealed another world beneath the city. And within that very world lies perhaps the chamber where Cleopatra's greatest secret remains locked. Her tomb, which has challenged the world to find it for 2,000 years. As the excavation progressed, the researchers discovered something that left the entire team breathless: an ancient stone tunnel that led directly to the sea. Initially, everyone thought it was a drainage passage, but when they shone a torch inside, they discovered strange symbols etched into the walls. These weren't typical Egyptian hieroglyphics. They featured symbols of the goddess Isis repeatedly, as if pointing to a sacred path. A cool breeze and light drops of water constantly trickled from the tunnel, and its walls were moist. It seemed as if the passage had been guarding some divine secret for centuries. When the team measured the tunnel's length, they were astonished. It was approximately 1.3 kilometers long, and a portion of it went directly beneath the Mediterranean Sea. As the sonar scan progressed, readings showed that the tunnel twisted in several places and connected to a sealed chamber. There was a constant echo from within, as if sound was being reflected back through the water. Some scientists called it an engineering miracle because it would have been nearly impossible to create a passage of such depth and precision so many years ago. Deciphering some ancient inscriptions on the walls, researchers found words like rebirth, eternal light, and the gate of Isis. The meaning was clear. This tunnel was no ordinary temple. Many experts believe that Cleopatra, who called herself New Isis, had this passage built for her final journey, a path connecting her to the goddess Isis. Some call it the final passage of the Queen, where Cleopatra's soul traveled from beneath the sea to the realm of the gods. But the most frightening thing was that when the exploration team moved the camera forward, the feeds suddenly flickered and went black for a few seconds. When the video resumed, some glowing figures appeared in the frame, as if someone had moved from within. Archaeologists now debated whether this tunnel was merely a passageway or a gateway to some ancient power. Whatever the truth, the tunnel had now become the most terrifying part of Cleopatra's mystery, a path that perhaps led directly to history's greatest secret. As the excavation team delved deeper into the mysterious tunnel, they began to notice strange symbols on the walls. These weren't ordinary Egyptian writing. Each symbol held a story. Some carvings depicted the goddess Isis standing, holding a glowing sphere. Others depicted figures resembling Cleopatra, a crown of snakes on her head, a lotus flower in her hand, and a radiant sun behind her. These walls seemed to depict the union of Cleopatra's soul with the goddess Isis. But some symbols stunned the researchers. They read, "The queen sleeps with Isis. Do not disturb her rest." These words sounded like a warning. The snakes, the outstretched wings, and the inverted ankh marks on the walls all held a profound meaning. Whoever opens this place will face the wrath of the goddess. In many places, the walls were carved with stone eyes, seemingly staring at the viewer. When laser light shone on them, it appeared as if the pupils were moving. Some researchers even claimed that the symbols on the walls began to glow a pale blue, as if exposed to an invisible energy. Experts offered different interpretations of these symbols. Some archaeologists said they were merely religious protection symbols meant to protect the tomb from would-be robbers. However, some Egyptologists believed the markings were a kind of spiritual seal, connecting the souls of Cleopatra and Isis to a divine world. One historian said, "This isn't just art, it's a coded language, telling that opening the tomb would be against the balance of nature." But the theories didn't stop there. Some said Cleopatra had adopted an ancient process of transforming her body into an energy form, and these symbols were part of that transformation. Other scientists attributed it to electromagnetic resonance, emanating from the tunnel's minerals. But no one knows the truth. What's certain is that these carvings weren't just carved into stone. They aroused both curiosity and fear throughout the world. It seemed as if Cleopatra's tomb wasn't just history, but a secret message from another world, one about to be revealed. As the excavation team reached the end of the tunnel, the atmosphere changed completely. Before them stood a massive stone door, sealed and centuries old. Carved with snakes, falcons, and ancient gods, it seemed like something out of a mysterious story. In the center was a large circular symbol depicting the figures of Cleopatra and the goddess Isis intertwined. It seemed as if this wasn't a door at all, but the entrance to a forbidden world. The air was cold and everyone standing there felt a strange sense of dread. When the team touched the surface of the door, a faint resonance echoed from the stone, as if some energy was flowing from within. Cameras and lights surrounding them suddenly flickered, and everything went black for a few seconds. When the lights returned, new symbols appeared on the sand beneath the door. Symbols that hadn't been there before. No one had touched them, yet they suddenly appeared. At that moment, everyone at the excavation site realized they weren't standing in front of an ordinary tomb, but a chamber intent on concealing its own secrets. They tried to peer through the door with sensors and scanners, but the readings were repeatedly distorted. Magnetic interference was so intense that no data remained stable. Some scientists attributed it to a natural disturbance, but fear was evident on the faces of others. One cameraman claimed to have seen a blue glowing shape in his lens, as if a shadow had passed behind the stone. The chief archaeologist finally ordered everyone to retreat. He said, "If this is the place we're thinking of, it's probably not meant for humans to open." The faint sounds echoing in the air, the constant failure of sensors and the cold glow of the stone door, all seemed like a warning of impending danger. It was as if Cleopatra herself was guarding her secret, and anyone who tried to open this forbidden chamber would likely pay the price. When the excavation team reached the sealed door, they began scanning the entire area with scientific instruments. Initially, the readings appeared normal, but within a few minutes, all the instruments began behaving strangely. Electromagnetic sensors suddenly began to emit strong vibrations, and temperature meters began to sound alarms. In some places, the temperature suddenly increased by 10 degrees, while within a few seconds it felt as if the air itself had transformed into an energy field. The chief scientist exclaimed in astonishment, "It felt like the air was alive." When the team installed high-frequency sound detectors, they heard a faint but persistent buzz, as if a machine was running quietly or something vibrating deep inside the earth. The sound didn't resemble a language, but it had a rhythm, like an ancient chant being repeated. Some researchers recorded the frequency, but the file became completely distorted during playback. Each time they listened, different patterns emerged, as if a signal was repeatedly changing its shape. Cameras also began to see strange things. In some frames, the air around the door seemed to move like waves, as if an invisible energy wall existed. The infrared camera even captured a glowing outline, a humanoid figure, which disappeared within seconds. Scientists described it as a plasma-like disturbance, but no one could fully understand what it was. At that moment, everyone at the excavation site felt a strange uneasiness. Some felt a hand on their shoulder, others heard whispers in their ears. Equipment began to shut off repeatedly, and a carved image of Cleopatra flashed spontaneously on a monitor. The chief archaeologist asked everyone to step back, but curiosity was so intense that no one could stop. It seemed as if the chamber itself was awakening. A centuries-old power, dormant until now, was slowly coming to life. And perhaps this was the real secret of Cleopatra, an energy field that was neither completely scientific nor completely spiritual, but a link between the two, which was now making its existence felt. When the excavation team finally removed the massive stone door, the sight before them stunned everyone. Inside was a vast chamber, complete with a gilded gleam. An ancient scent hung in the air, and mysterious symbols appeared on the walls as torchlight shone on them. Scattered among them were relics whose value was impossible to estimate. In one corner sat Cleopatra's golden crown, engraved with symbols of snakes and the sun. Legend has it that wearing this crown bestowed divine protection upon the wearer, and anyone who dared touch it would be forced to play with their own destiny. In the center of the chamber sat a stone table, on which lay old papyrus scrolls. They contained images and figures that resembled an ancient resurrection ritual. One scroll read, "The queen shall rise through the eye of Ra." Scientists say this may be connected to some astronomical event. While some Egyptologists believe it was a sign, Cleopatra had merged her soul with the cycle of the sun. In another corner, an obsidian mirror was found, made of black stone, perfectly smooth, yet so deep that it seemed to reflect a glimpse into another world. According to ancient Egyptian myths, the goddess Isis used such mirrors to communicate with spirits. When a researcher peered into the mirror out of curiosity, she reported seeing not her own face, but that of another woman, with golden eyes. At that moment, the temperature of the site suddenly dropped, and slight cracks appeared on the mirror's surface. But the most mysterious object of all was a small stone box, half buried in the ground near the wall. It was engraved with symbols of snakes and lotus flowers. The team didn't open it, but instruments revealed a metallic object inside, emitting faint electromagnetic pulses. The chief scientist said, "Whatever's inside is no ordinary artifact. It's probably Cleopatra's heart fragment." Theories began to circulate that this box might contain her life essence or an energy crystal, which had remained sealed for a reason. At the other end of this chamber lay the sight that terrified everyone, a giant stone sarcophagus, Cleopatra's final resting place. Deeply carved on it were serpentine figures, a two-headed cobra, winged falcons, and a human face resembling Cleopatra's loomed in the center. Surrounding it were engraved gold and silver stones, and below was inscribed, "She sleeps until the stars call her name." When the team tried to lift the sarcophagus lid with mechanical arms, the hydraulic system suddenly failed. The power went out, and the entire chamber plunged into darkness for a moment. When the backup power was turned on, scientists noticed that the readings had completely changed. Energy levels had tripled, and sensors began to sound a constant alarm. It seemed as if a magnetic field was trying to escape from within. Some believed the curse had been activated, while others called it preserved energy, something Cleopatra had locked inside to protect her soul. The chief archaeologist immediately ordered the excavation to be halted, but curiosity made it difficult to stop. One researcher said, "If this is truly her tomb, then there's not just a body locked inside, but perhaps a power as well." Theories now began to spread. Had Cleopatra discovered some ancient technology beyond science? Had she transformed herself into some energy form? The sealed box still lies in the chamber, untouched, mysterious, and slowly pulsing, as if life still remains within it. The air still has that faint buzz, and symbols glow faintly on the walls. It's as if Cleopatra herself is there, just waiting for someone to open her eyes again and for her to return to the world with her secret. Cleopatra is seen in history not just as a queen, but also as a goddess. She called herself the new Isis, a goddess who possessed the power to bring her husband, Osiris, back from the dead. In ancient Egypt, Isis was believed to have the power to bring her husband Osiris back from the dead, and Cleopatra embodied this legend. Her clothing, temple statues, and even her tomb markers resembled Isis. She wanted people to remember her not just as a human being, but as a goddess who immortalized her soul along with her empire. According to historians, Cleopatra's tomb was not just a burial place, but a divine ritual site. Symbols carved on the walls include words like rebirth, eternal light, and divine union, indicating that her last wish was to unite her soul with the goddess Isis. Some experts believe that Cleopatra designed her death as a resurrection ceremony. She didn't drink poison, but instead transformed herself into an energy form that transcends time and death. This is why her body has never been found, because she likely no longer exists in this world in physical form. When news broke that scientists had discovered Cleopatra's possible tomb, the entire world was stirred. News headlines screamed, "Cleopatra's lost tomb found." Is the Queen of Egypt still alive? Social media was abuzz with theories. Some believed the site was linked to ancient alien technology, as the symbols found there didn't resemble human language. Some theorized it was an energy reactor Cleopatra had built for her resurrection. Many scientists consider it a marvel of ancient science. They argued that the Egyptians understood electromagnetic and solar alignments and had built Cleopatra's tomb in accordance with cosmic energy. But this discovery also sparked religious controversy. Some Egyptian religious leaders called it the holy resting ground of the goddess Isis and warned that opening the tomb would be a sin. According to them, disturbing this divine chamber could upset the balance of nature. Cleopatra once again became the biggest news in the world, fueled by TV debates, documentaries, and YouTube videos. Some say she was a goddess, others say she was part of alien contact. But the truth is that Cleopatra's legend is now transforming from myth to reality. And if her tomb is indeed found, it will mean that the greatest mystery in world history is slowly opening its doors. The only question is, are we ready to see it? When news of the discovery of Cleopatra's tomb spread around the world, the same question resonated everywhere. Is this just an archaeological discovery or a doorway to another world? Scientists considered it a remarkable discovery. They believed it was the largest archaeological site in history, bringing back to life a lost chapter of Egyptian civilization. They argued that the electromagnetic readings and energy spikes found were merely natural mineral reactions, not the result of any supernatural power. They argued that Cleopatra's tomb was the result of her religious beliefs and astronomical knowledge, not a curse or mystery. For them, it was a triumph of excavation, turning a myth into reality. But believers and mystics held the exact opposite view. For them, the tomb was more than just an ordinary place, a gateway connecting our world to a divine or parallel realm. They argued that the spirits of Cleopatra and the goddess Isis still exist in this world as energy, and that the tomb was a conduit for that power. Some mystics claimed that the energy field surrounding the tomb was alive, and disturbing it was against the laws of nature. Theories went even further. Some said that Cleopatra had transferred her consciousness into a crystal-like device, so that when the right cosmic alignment was reached, she could awaken again. This debate divided the world, those who wanted to explain everything with scientific evidence, and those who believed it was a spiritual awakening. The issue ignited a firestorm in documentaries, talk shows, and social media. Some called it Cleopatra's curse, others a portal of immortality. And yet something happened at the excavation site that silenced both sides. One day, scientists decided to open the sealed stone box that was placed in the center of the tomb. The atmosphere was tense. Cameras, lights, and equipment were at the ready. As the mechanical arm lifted the heavy lid, the entire room shook. The air suddenly grew cold and the lights flickered. Everyone held their breath for a moment. When the lid was fully opened, there was only one object inside, a black stone tablet emitting a strange glow. The ancient symbols engraved on it, when clearly visible, read, "She shall rise again." The instruments again recorded strange electromagnetic pulses, and some cameras captured a faint blue wave rising from behind the door. It seemed as if some energy had been awakened. The scientists placed the tablet in a containment box, but a few minutes later, all the sensors automatically shut off. The chief archaeologist said softly, "This isn't just history, it's a sign of someone returning," as if an invisible force was swirling in the air. Everyone at the site felt as if they had disturbed something they shouldn't have. And then, the words engraved on the wall faintly flashed, "The Queen sleeps with Isis." At that moment, the entire team understood. This was no ordinary tomb, but a door to Cleopatra's consciousness, and perhaps she had now finally recovered from her sleep. As the final scene unfolds, the camera slowly zooms in on the golden chamber, where the secret of Cleopatra's soul still lies buried. Dust floats in the air, and the symbols carved on the walls emit a faint blue glow, as if some invisible force still lives there. Was Cleopatra really dead, or did she play with time and make herself immortal? Is her spirit still waiting in that chamber, waiting for the moment when someone will awaken it again? If you believe Cleopatra's spirit still lives, comment, like, share, and don't forget to subscribe, because next time we'll show secret footage that has been hidden from the world and which may prove that queens never truly die, they simply transcend time.